Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming today and marking this exciting new chapter for Community Servings. I'm Karen Bressler, and I have the great privilege of being the board chair for Community Servings. I came to Community Servings on a sales call when we were in Roxbury in 2001, and I have never left. I am so proud of where we have come, even since we moved to this facility in Jamaica Plain in 2007. The project that we collectively kick off today will allow Community Servings to triple its capacity for producing medically tailored meals. This will feed more people across Massachusetts, people who suffer from critical and chronic illnesses and are unable to shop for groceries, prepare a meal, and stand by a stove. This will help them to get access to scratch-made cooking, specifically designed for their medical needs. But this project will do so much more than that. It will also support people who need a hand in returning to the workforce, in getting trained in the culinary profession. It will allow families to come to our facility and volunteer in our kitchen, which will then allow parents to pass on the virtue of volunteerism to their children. This project will also house a food and health policy center. We take what we have learned through our important work here and replicate it throughout other communities. We dream about communities around this country and around the world. This is not an easy project to put together. It took this village. We are grateful for all the partners that played a role in making this a reality. Many of you are here today, and for that, we thank you. The City of Boston has been an essential partner to Community Servings, always, and the project could have not advanced without the city's support. I would like to ask our mayor, Marty Walsh, to say a few words, but before I do that, I also want to mention the mayor is having a coffee tomorrow in Mozart Park in Jamaica Plain at 9:30. But please join me in giving a hand to the leader of the greatest city that we know, Mayor Walsh.
Thank you. It's exciting to be here on this beautiful day, and I want to thank everyone for coming out here today. I want to just give a couple quick shout outs. One is to the Chief of Health and Human Services that's here with us, Marty Martinez. Thank you, Marty, for being with us today. An incredible elected official who cares about people, and her whole career has been based on giving back and helping people, and that's State Representative Liz Maya. Mention everyone up here, Helen, because if I did, we'd be here all day. So just thank everyone from here. David Waters, thank you very much. Kevin Connor, thank you very much. I'm just picking different people. Ellen and Peter and Merritt for being the co-chairs of this campaign. Thank you very much. And I want to congratulate everyone at Community Servings for the support and the board members that are here that you do every single day. I want to thank the people that have made this project possible. Anyone, whether it's Shawmut, the builder, to people investing, to the community, to everyone. A project like this takes a village, as Hillary Clinton would say, and certainly that's what we're here for today. The good news is that for people facing tough challenges, you don't just help people survive. You give back and give them the tools to thrive, and that's really what today is all about. And that's the great news in the city of Boston as well. I was just, as I sat down for a minute, I was thinking about all of the different organizations in our city that give back, and I was just thinking there for a second that if we didn't have these great organizations, where would we be as a society? And every day we go to a different place, helping different people in different areas, and it really is amazing. And that is the village concept of helping and lifting everyone up. So again, I want to thank everyone. It's what we aim for in our work in food policy and health services and education, workforce development in the city of Boston, working to make sure that people have good nutrition, that people live in clean, healthy, safe environments, they have the supports they need. That's our responsibility as a society to make sure we do that. The work that's happening here is inspiration. We look at the tremendous community partners like what's happening here, look at the incredible history, reaching out to people facing stigma and isolation. and that's something as well. When something is rooted in true compassion, it can only grow to produce great things. What's happening here is you're spreading the compassion, doing groundbreaking work in healthcare and in job training. Medically appropriate nutrition is vital for the healthcare field. In the food industry is one of the most accessible pathways, certainly to a good career. I'm proud to be mayor of the city where this kind of program can grow, and I'm proud that you are serving people from all across the region. Growth in many forms is what's happening here. I want to again just thank everyone for being here today. This is a very big day here in the city of Boston, not just in Jamaica Plain, but throughout the entire city of Boston. So I want to thank again, I'll end where I began. Anybody under this tent or outside this tent that had anything to do, and you did because you're here today, with this day, what we're doing here today, from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm Merritt McIntyre, President of Coldwell Banker in New England, and I'm very honored to be the co-chair of the Capital Campaign for Community Servings, along with Peter and Ellen Zane. Our next speaker is the Commissioner of the Massachusetts Department of Public Health, Dr. Monica Burrell.
Thank you very much. It's wonderful to be here with you on this beautiful day for this most exciting groundbreaking. Thank you to David, thank you to the Mayor for showing your support for this important work, for Rep. Malia, for the board members, the supporters, most importantly the staff and the clients who benefit from this program and the expansion to help the most vulnerable among us. As I was thinking about today, I thought back to some of the most valuable lessons I learned in medical school. And those lessons came from when we went on home visits. Because when we went outside of the clinic and into where our patients lived, I got a sense to see how my patients interacted with their communities. And on these home visits, with their permission, I sometimes opened up their fridges and their cupboards. And sometimes I was shocked at what I saw. Sometimes, in a patient suffering from severe malnutrition, the fridge was empty. And sometimes, the cupboards of a patient with very fragile heart failure was filled with soups with lots of salt that I knew would put their heart failure into a worse state. And I also knew that no medication that I could write on my prescription pad would help alleviate this part of their disease that I was trying to treat. So I knew then, and I know now so firmly, that consistent, dependable, nutritional food is an incredibly vital part of treating disease and keeping us all healthy. And what Community Servings has done for decades is show us that in action and show us what it means to provide that food security to those who are most vulnerable among us. And at the Department of Public Health, we're really proud of our decades-long partnership with Community Servings. And the work of Community Servings and the mission of Community Servings is in line with our own mission at the Department of Public Health, where we are focused, we have a laser-sharp focus on working towards eradicating health inequities in this #1 most healthiest state of ours of Massachusetts. And as we think about eradicating health inequities, we are using a data-driven approach where we're using the data that we have to target health disparities and target our resources to those among us who need them the most. And speaking of data, we know that Community Servings, when individuals get these nutritionally, culturally appropriate, medically appropriate meals, not only is it better for them nutritionally, it decreases emergency room visits, it decreases unnecessary inpatient time, and it's a win-win for all of us. I'm also really thrilled that at the Department of Public Health, we're partnering with community services and academic researchers to further look at this home-based model that I know is so powerful in what it can do to raise food security and help us treat disease and stay healthy. I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you all for supporting this really important work.
My name is Peter Zane, and I'm a very proud member of the Board of Community Servings and also a co-chair of this capital campaign. I thank you for all of you for being here. I'm honored to introduce Michelle White, a wonderful example of the impact of this organization. A number of years ago, Michelle was a successful participant in our Learning Kitchen, and in 2016 opened Next Step Soul Food Cafe in Dorchester, a restaurant that now draws upon her life's experience and food memories and her entrepreneurial spirit. This past March, the Boston Globe identified Michelle as one of 6 females who are transforming the Boston food scene. It is my great pleasure to introduce Michelle.
To be here. I'm the only one that doesn't have no cards. I really don't need it. I am so excited to be here today. I really feel blessed to have been a part of the Teaching Kitchen. For Susan Langozo, I mean, she's not here, but I thank her so much. She really inspires me all the time. When I was 45 years old, I decided that I wanted to switch and turn over a brand new leaf. I had an illustrious career in family child care for about 30 years, and my mom, she groomed me, and she retired. So I said, yeah, I'm gonna retire at 45, and I'm gonna find something different to do. Well, I went to my local health center, which is Common Square Health Center, and I talked to some folks about health leads, and they recommended community servings. Why don't you volunteer at community servings? Why don't you check out their Teaching Kitchen program? And I was like, well, I mean, I guess so, it translates. I mean, I took care of children and I had to cook for them, and you know, the parents kept coming back for food. They kept asking me to make more food for them, and how the kids are refusing to eat food at their house because it's not like Miss Michelle's. So I decided to give it a try. I mean, I went in, I took the test, and I started in the 12-week program, which was awesome. Not only am I glad to graduate from that program, my mother suffers from multiple myeloma cancer. And so she actually benefited from the food that we would prepare. I would go home and talk to her about it, and how food and nutrition could really help her. Not just, she had the best doctors. She had the people who were generous and kind, and they paid for her treatments, which were hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. So, but when my mother went home at night, there was nothing in the refrigerator, to be honest. I wasn't there. There was no one there to prepare it for her, even if she did have food there. So the fact that she signed up a little after I graduated from the program, and she loved it. Every day she would eat healthfully. Every day she would just be motivated to eat. Now, I must admit, soul food can be a bit, you know, a bit much. But what happened is that we decided to take some of these recipes and add it to our program. So all the soups that I learned how to make from Chef Kevin, he's somewhere around here, I use it in my program, and people love it. So the fact that I not only benefit from the Teaching Kitchen, the fact that in my restaurant right now, we use some of those recipes. There are people in here, I talk about how you don't want salt. Okay, let's take that salt out. You know, okay, let's do this. Instead of that, let's do that. So I feel privileged. My mother is actually working for me so that I can be here to talk to you. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle. Very inspiring. One of the greatest things about community servings is that it's not just about providing a meal. It's about providing a healthy meal, and it's about health and some of the partnerships that we've been able to gain with healthcare institutions. And with that, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, the Director of Community Benefits at the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, Magnolia Contreras.
Good morning. What a wonderful day. Thank you, David, for talking to all the natures to have us have this beautiful day and celebrating the work that is done in this organization. I am one of those people that loves this organization because Its mission is very much in line with that at Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, which is that we provide cancer care treatment to the patients, but along with their families. It is very easy for our providers to refer families in need of nutritional support while they're going through their complex cancer treatment, while knowing that the patient will focus on their health and that an organization that we partner with, like Community Servings, will focus on their family. It is a challenge for a woman in particular to receive, to be at the hospital all day receiving breast cancer treatment and then have to go home and think about and prepare and plan for dinner for her family. We are able to support our patients by connecting them to the work of Community Servings, and they no longer have to do that. We see the benefit of that partnership because it allows us to talk to those patients about focusing on their own care, while somebody else, another organization, another loving institution can support them in the rest of their journey. And that's why our missions are aligned. We focus both on the patient. The tailored meals approach that they're evolving into is something that we know will benefit our patients, because as we move into the personalized medicine approach, they're moving into a personalized, tailored meals approach. And that, again, is the way that we work together as a referring organization. The other way that we work together, because our partnership is easy on the patient side, but it also is connected to us on our staff side. Many of our employee resource groups participate and volunteer at Dana-Farber, so it isn't just a partnership around patient care, it's an institutional partnership. They have benefited from coming to volunteer at different campaigns at Community Servings. They volunteer, deliver meals, and so the organization not only has a relationship with our clinical department, but it has a relationship throughout the organization. Yesterday, my staff had a visibility event, and one of the organizations that was featured was Community Servings, and that's to ensure that our patients and our staff know the important work that this organization does. So on behalf of us at Dana-Farber, thank you for the ongoing partnership, and I think that Community Service is an example of what an anchor institution does. Not only provide services, but look at the whole community and try to provide those services. So thank you very much. Have a good morning.
I'm thrilled to introduce Ellen Zane. Sorry, Merrick, she's my favorite picture. Ellen is a renowned voice in healthcare leadership, locally, nationally, and internationally. She's an expert in corporate governance, and importantly, as it relates to Community Servings, Ellen lectures regularly on cost drivers in healthcare. And so it's my great pleasure to introduce my life partner and campaign partner, Ellen Zane.
It's so much fun to have a cheerleader, isn't it? What a day this is in the chapter of the life of Community Servings. This is absolutely unbelievable, and the gods are with us. There's no question about it. This new chapter for Community Servings will allow the organization to triple the number of medically tailored meals that it produces, and it will also greatly expand its training program. This new facility will help Community Servings as it thinks about bringing the program nationwide as an accelerator. But the part that I think is so very integral to this organization is they can prove they're making a difference. All of us have great organizations, terrific not-for-profits who line up to ask us for our money. But the truth is they all do good work, but very few of them can say more than, I do good work. This organization can prove it. And most recently, a very important health journal, Health Affairs, published an article that talked about information and data that it received from the AARP Foundation with work that they did at the MGH. in order to show that a 16% reduction in healthcare costs is a result of Community Serving's Commonwealth Care Alliance patients showing a significant 16% reduction, net reduction, in trips in ambulances and in inpatient admissions and emergency room visits. Having been a CEO of an academic medical center in Boston, I can tell you how incredibly important that is to our futures. It's why we do what we do. And health plans are beginning to understand that not only is this the right thing to do, it's very good business. Because by virtue of using medically tailored meals, health plans are beginning to understand that it isn't about the cost of an MRI or of a surgical procedure. It's about the total medical expense that is associated with the care of a patient. And by feeding patients and their families properly, we are able to reduce the total medical expense for these patients. And more broadly, the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation is underway, giving more credence to this, analyzing more data to this overall objective. So hats off to Community Servings for doing something far different and doing it differently better. Congratulations.
When I sit here and I get the look out there, it's just really fantastic to see some of the day-to-day staff who have come out. So how about a round of applause for them? As Karen brought up and the mayor brought up, it does take a village. One of the most important people to have in the village is the guy who can bring the money together. So with that, I'd like to introduce Anthony Bug Levine, who's the CEO of the Nonprofit Finance Fund. Anthony?
Thanks, everyone. It's really great to be here. Nonprofit Finance Fund for 38 years has been providing loans and advice to amazing organizations like Community Servings, and more than 20 years here in Boston. We are around the country, and there's sort of picking up what Ellen said, there's a movement afoot around the country that is proving that nutritious food is a central part of healthcare. We are working with a community garden in Oakland, California that's providing nutritious food in that community. We have clients who run health clinics where doctors are prescribing kale. We have a client who runs a medical center that teaches medical students how to cook so that they can go and teach their patients how to cook. And so this is really part of something much bigger. For me personally, it's really great to be here in Boston for 2 reasons. I grew up 6 miles from here, Google Maps, and I can check exactly 6 miles as my childhood home. So it's really great to be able to bring this movement to Boston here with Community Servings. And picking up what Alan said, we are finance people, we run a loan fund, we lend to nonprofits. And so the idea that this is not only the morally right thing to do. In a country as wealthy as ours, in a city as successful as Boston, the fact that people should not be hungry, who are also dealing with medical trauma, should just be a moral imperative. But what Ellen mentioned and what Community Servings is partly proving is this isn't only the right thing to do, it also saves money. And so as a finance person, if I find something that is right and saves money, to me that's a slam dunk. Now the thing about slam dunks, and I shouldn't have to say this in Boston, they don't always work out so well. And too soon? Just because something is right and saves money doesn't mean it's simply going to happen. And a project like this, expanding an intervention that is so obviously the right thing to do, does take a lot of effort. It is a real community, and the community here is incredibly exciting. And I represent the community of investors. I did want to mention that we've been able to mobilize $31 million for this project, and that includes Nonprofit Finance Fund, Low Income Investment Fund, they have some representatives here, PNC Financial has been involved, Cambridge Savings Bank, and the City of Boston have all been involved in providing the resources to make this happen. In addition, I'm very honored to be here bringing 2 federal programs. At a time when I think it's easy to despair about what happens or doesn't happen in our federal government, I think it's important for all of you to know that we wouldn't be here today and we wouldn't have been able to support this initiative if not for 2 federal programs run out of the Treasury Department, the Community Development Finance Institution, that's the Healthy Food Financing Initiative, as well as the New Markets Tax Credits. And I forgot to mention Property and Casualty Initiative as well as one of the investors. So I did want to mention that this is about not just the community here in Boston, and I'm incredibly excited that you guys have supported this organization. It's the community of investors as well as the broader community that includes federal, state, and city policy. I just want to end by saying that, again, at a time when I think it's very easy to despair, not just about politics, but about an underlying dynamic in our country that is forgetting the fact that we have a moral obligation to take care of each other. I think at the core of what's troubling us is a sense that many people have forgotten that we really should be extending a hand to everyone and not just some people. In that context, it's so exciting to be here, David, with you and your team, and to be in this community that really represents a refutation of that. That says committed people doing smart things in smart ways can mobilize a community, and we really can live up to that what the mayor mentioned, which is the compassion that is the core of this work. So it's a real honor to be here and to be able to be support of this effort. Thank you.
It's my true honor to introduce our leader, David Waters, who's really done a remarkable job in helping to build the organization.
Mayor Walsh, Commissioner Burrell, thank you so much for coming. Everybody here, is so exciting to have you here. I feel like it's a family reunion. Whether you are here for the first time or have been supporting us for all the 28 years, like our founders, Sheila Decter, Alan Balsam, Liz Malia, who's been supporting us for years, Marty Martinez. What Community Servings does is not just a village, but it's a celebration of joy. And as Anthony was saying, you know, there are dark times and we read discouraging news, but Community Servings has been always about feeling good and giving what we can to help other people here in the community. And I look back to our kitchen staff in the back and all of our staff here, and I want to give them another round of applause because they're the ones who make I also want to give two more quick shout outs. One is to the neighbors, because we are very much a neighborhood program and we are here and proud to be in the Stony Brook and JP neighborhoods. So for all the neighbors around, we are working hard to make a beautiful building that's going to improve the neighborhood, but also to do it quietly. And finally, we don't come up with $21 million by ourselves. It is the whole community coming together. We've talked about investors, but I also want to give a shout out to all of those who have personally contributed to the program, whether it's through our annual work, annual fund, or through the campaign. We're so grateful for you. You've heard the many reasons why Community Servings work matters. From a city perspective and a public health standpoint, from a health provider, an investor, and most importantly from the people that are impacted directly by our program. As Ellen said, this new building is going to allow us to triple the number of meals to 1.5 million free meals, delivered medically tailored meals made from scratch to people all across Massachusetts. Double the number of volunteers we host every day from the community. Double the number of folks facing barriers to employment who can come here, learn job training, but also give back at the same time, and launch a new food health policy center. My job for the past 20 years has been to celebrate the work of our amazing staff and volunteers and express our thanks to the community. I've seen us grow this year for this work for 28 years, from serving 30 individuals with HIV and AIDS to serving more than 2,000 clients a day across Massachusetts. The only reason it's possible is because the community comes together to support this work. This is held true in our campaign, with the community rallying around to help us raise $8.25 million to help build this building. We have just $1.7 million left to raise. In particular, we're very grateful of the support of the Richard and Susan Smith Family Foundation, the Dan and Therese Heinzelman Family Foundation, our dear friend Rachel Solom, Peter and Ellen Zane, Karen Bressler, Lorraine Bressler, Scott Epstein, and so many of you in the room that have stepped up to help make this happen. But we still have work to do. There's still that nagging 1.7 million, let's not forget, we still need to raise by the end of December. We have a challenge grant to help us make it happen. And what I ask of you is, if you're inspired by the stories you've heard from Michelle or our staff or our investors, help us carry that message forward, because we know that not only locally and regionally, but nationally, magic is happening here on Amory Street. But the word has to get out, more people have to invest, and together we can change not how we feed sick people in this neighborhood or this state, but all across the country. That's what you're investing in, and that's where we need you to help us carry that message, because we're still not well enough known, and there's still that 1.7 million. Thank you. We're going to now have some photographs. Those who are on the stage can join us here for the first photograph, and my colleague Tim will be here to welcome other folks for the next rounds of photographs. We want everyone to be celebrating with us this important milestone. Thank you.